live my life as though generations depend on me, and I will teach and encourage all mine to do the same. Silverback.
We've seen a tremendous amount of progress. We've heard about it from some of the other teachers.
And I say this in my 26 years, this is the first program that I've seen an immediate impact, especially with boys.
We take a different approach. We don't try to be military and try to have all these strict rules. We understand that, hey, we're going to be respectful, and through that being respectful, we earn their respect, and we're able to cultivate a great relationship.
I have been in a partnership with the Silverbacks now for about 3-4 years, and they have made a significant impact on the culture in our school. They have turned the lives around of many boys that we really would not have been able to make a difference with, and I can't begin to tell you how important it has been to have these men sacrifice their time and their talents and a lot of times their money to be male role models to young men who would not be a man because they had never seen a man. And that's a model that I live.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am, but I'm standing next to Mr. Juan Hernandez, who is a veteran in the Silverback Society. Juan, would you just kind of tell people who you are, your involvement, and what it means to you, and kind of what you get out of the whole program?
Sure. You know, this is an opportunity for guys like me and Lloyd to give back something that the community has given to us all our lives. You know, I'm an Algiers resident, grew up in the cutoff, and certainly have had opportunities given to me because there were men who were willing to take time with me, including my own father, and including Lloyd and others. And so when Lloyd and Pastor Wadsworth decided to start this program and eventually began reaching out to the rest of us, we understood that we had an obligation, as well as it being a pleasure, to be able to touch young brothers and be able to talk to them about our story and why it is we were able to accomplish the things that we did over the time that we did. And what we've shared with them is that we all have a story, that we all started out someplace and we all had hurdles that we had to overcome, but we get to talk to them about those hurdles and then give them what we call that all-important toolbox to learn how to get past those hurdles. Right. So it's meant that for me because I've been able to share my story with these young brothers and really get them to understand that really the choice is theirs and they can get anywhere and be anywhere they want to and be whoever they want, but they need to understand how to achieve it, and I think that's our role with them.
As I've always said, you know, my involvement with the Silverback has really been a bit selfish. I was more interested in being in a position to kind of receive some guidance myself and really offer whatever I can. So I just enjoyed the opportunity to be around brothers like yourself, other Silverbacks, and kind of soak up all that wisdom and whatnot. But for the most part, man, you know, the best way I can describe it is me just making every effort to live my life as though generations depend on me. That's where I'm at, sir.
What about the kids? There are people that I think are afraid of the children. Can you kind of just help them understand the process and how the kids act when we're around them and what you expect from the kids?
Right. Well, you know, it's all about expectations, number one. You know, we come in there and we let them know that, hey, you know, we're individuals here to just participate in this, and that, hey, you know, we don't know you, you don't know me, but if we all agree to kind of be a part of this, we'll get to know one another. The kids and the kids embrace that. You know, eventually, I mean, we take a different approach. We don't try to be military and try to have all these strict rules. We understand that, hey, we're going to be respectful, and through that being respectful, we earn their respect, and we're able to cultivate a great relationship. So it's you know, I can see some people having issues with the approach that we take, but we know that this has been an approach that has worked.
And that's really what the bottom line is. We do what works in the Silverback Society. No theories, no experiments. We do what works. And
I've started this program in Silverback Society since January, but actually I came last year at Murray Henderson at the other site. Brother Lloyd asked me to come and get involved, and I really thought that I was coming to give something to the kids, but it's been twofold. You know, I've received a lot from these kids, and I really enjoy coming out here and being part of Silverback Society here at Craig School.
Well, first of all, I'm glad to be a part of this program. It gives me a chance to give back to our community in terms of helping and mentoring young boys. As a young man who grew up in this city, went to high school here, college, and everything else, it's my duty to give back to our community and get to interact with young men ages 13 and 14 years old, 8th graders. It's good to see young men who are trying, but they need that extra nudge, and I think this is what we provide them, an extra nudge to show them that there are black men in this community that's actually doing well.
Sometimes it's hard to get men to come do this work. I'm just going to say it. And sometimes I think part of the problem is that they really believe some terrible things about our children. What's been your experience with the kids since you started being involved?
Nothing but good things. You know, kids going to be kids, but at the same time, they respect what we're trying to do, and they're engaging in what we're trying to do, and it makes it easy, you know, when they can see men who come from their backgrounds giving back.
First of all, the young people receive us very, very warmly. I cannot say that I'm disappointed at all with the young men. They have come out and really shown that they are interested in hearing what we have to say. I look at my opportunity to be a part of the Silverbacks as a win-win, because for me, I'm getting something out of it, and I'm able to help some of these young men in this city who greatly need some positive black men in their lives. So this is actually an awesome opportunity for me.
You know, there are a lot of people that in looking at news reports and looking at reading stuff out the newspaper and stuff would have all sorts of preconceived notions about how these young men would behave if you come and try and help them out and stuff like that. Could you just address some of that and let people and reassure people that want to come help that the young people are just here waiting?
I think the thing that stops most people is fear. Mm-hmm. And once you walk into that classroom with these young men and they realize that we're there to help them and not to hurt them, they're wide open. They want to hear what we have to say. They look at all of us that come in and say, well, that young man came and he's presented properly, he looks nice, he's dressed neat, he has a good job, he has a nice family. I want to have the same thing. And it's not that they can't achieve it. They just need some of us to tell them that they can and help them to achieve those goals.
This is going to be our first week out on the yard with the boys. I'm really looking forward to it. We finished the 6-week curriculum, and in the 7th week we kind of just go out and hang out on the yard and talk one-on-one with the boys.
That's right. Well, this is our opportunity to really bond with them. You know, because in the classroom everybody's in there together. There are going to be some of them that'll kind of move off on their own, and those will be the ones you got to go find out what's going on, find out what's their story, you know, what's happening with them, what makes them tick, what they enjoy, the things that they're passionate about.
It's a very simple process in my mind. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, if you think about it, it's quite intuitive, but a lot of people don't do it. I mean, we overcomplicate things a lot in our lives, and the way we like to do it with these young men is we give them the respect that they deserve, and in turn they give us the respect that we deserve as community. I'm not an elder, but as an adult. So what we do is we go into these schools and we work with these young men and we talk to them about self-respect. Their motto that we have them commit to, or our pledge, is I'll live my life as though generations depend on me, and I'll teach and encourage all of mine to do the same. Now, if you think about those words, you know, that is quite uplifting, and it's quite a responsibility. Right. And the way we're able to change these young men's lives is that most of us had to make a choice at around the same age, right, what we were going to be in life as far as what direction we were going to go in, whether we're going to be a good kid or whether we're going to be a bad kid. Because as you know, as you hit those high school years, you get to start over. And you know, from what we go in there and do, and we live the example, we show them the example. We don't go in there and talk down to them and be strong disciplinarians. We discipline by example. You know, if someone's getting out of line, we go over there and talk to them like a man. We put our hands on their shoulder and say, hey, young brother, you know, we need you to pay attention, or whatever's going on, or what's going on with you today. Right. You know, so we're not going in there and trying to be a second parent, you know, or trying to be another teacher. What we're trying to do is teach them about life by showing them how we respond and what is the right way to respond to others. And in turn, we get that from them.
This year we had the pleasure of welcoming the Silverback Society into our school. They've been here approximately 6 weeks. This is week number 7. And what the students have been taking from it, our boys, our 8th grade boys, is they've actually trying to form their own little society within the school, where they somewhat adopted a Big Brother program and now are working with the 5th grade boys here at the school to teach and model for them what they should do, how they should act, and how they should behave. And what is happening is the transfer of knowledge is coming from our 8th grade boys and is actually moving down throughout the boys in the school. And the reason our 8th grade boys selected the 5th grade boys was due to the fact that our 5th grade boys are sometimes our most challenging boys. And they said, well, Mr. Goodwin, those are the ones we want to work with the most, because we don't want them to follow our path. We want them to be better than what we are, and we want them to strive to be better than what we can be.
Well, actually, for all of my career, when we do our award ceremony at our culminating activity at the end of the year, girls always walk away with all of the certificates for high achievement, behavior, attendance, even good citizenship. But once the Silverbacks came on board, the very first year, my girls were very upset because the boys who were in the Silverbacks Society walked away with all of the high achieving awards. And the most important one, I thought, of all of them was good attendance, because it gave the boys a reason to come to school. They looked forward to being able to spend time with real men. But it was just so humorous because I had never really thought about it until it happened, and the girls were like, we have to do something about this. And we even give really nice gifts to kids who achieve well on LEAP and iLEAP. And the boys even walked away with the gifts that year that we provided. I think we gave a Wii, and we gave away a gift certificate for footwear. And of course, we got assistance from Silverback Society, and at that time, Pastor Wadsworth, God bless him. And it was almost as if they were just buying gifts for their guys, because the guys walked away with those gifts. And we were very, very proud of them. Jealous, but proud.
What do you have to say to a brother that's on the fence, think he might want to get involved, just not sure?
Hey, I would say come check out the Silverbacks, man. This is the real deal over here. If you love your community and you love the city of New Orleans and you want to see the city of New Orleans prosper, this is an opportunity to be a part of some 8th grade gentleman success. That's what it's about.
This is Blaine Bondy, contractor, radio personality, and stuff like that. And this is Blaine's first year of involvement in the Silverback Society. And Blaine, I want you to just share your impressions, how you feel about your involvement, and anything else you got to say to folks in the audience about what we do.
You know, I've always been impressed by your presentation, listening to you and the things that you were talking about as it pertained to mentoring young men. And that's kind of what drove my interest, based on your experience. You were saying things that was, you know, hitting home with me and resonating with me about our perceptions about what it takes to reach these young men, and not only that, but that at the end of the day, this is just a bunch of, you know, kids who want to be kids, who want to have the opportunity to be kids. Everybody has their apprehensions. You always hear about young black males, and you know, I have friends who've been in school systems, and they say, you know, how out of control it can be. And going into it, you always have those thoughts in the back of your head. But I always found comfort in your experience and what you said. So going into the class was just kind of like I had been there already, based on, you know, what we had talked about in your experiences. And I got to be honest with you, you can see a transformation in these guys from the first day we started to where we are now, which is 7 to 8 weeks into the program. And it truly is a bunch of kids that just want an opportunity to be kids and let the stresses go. When you first meet them, they all kind of have their chest poked out, and you know, they gotta let you know, look, look, I'm just as much of a man as you are. But at the end of the day, when they realize that you are really a man, and they understand who they really are and what their role in life is, they want to be their age.
I started out my career as a teacher, Lloyd, and when I started, I remember getting in trouble with my principal because I refused to go have lunch with the rest of the teachers. And it was because I had been given a class of quote-unquote bad kids. Right. And I decided that the only reason why they were bad kids is because the teachers had decided that they were bad kids. And so I didn't want to be tainted by that knowledge. I wanted to get to know those kids myself. And I found that if we took the time and got to understand them individually and understood really what their issues were and what made them tick, and then showed them love, just unconditional love, that they would respond in kind. And so I think this is the same thing here. And so when people take a look at, do you get involved and how do you deal with kids? The fact of the matter is they're all good kids. Right. They're just looking for somebody to be good to them. Right. And that's what we do.
We've seen a tremendous amount of progress. We've heard about it from some of the other teachers. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks bringing more examples of positive black men into the classroom for them to see. Today was, we had somebody in there that was from this neighborhood, from this school. Right. So I think they need to see more influences like that, more people that have come out of similar situations. And I was reading something today. Young black men are treated more harsher, are suspended more, are given worse grades than their counterparts for similar offenses. This is something that is not unique to New Orleans. It's not something that's unique to Orleans Parish School System, RSD, whatever the case may be. This is something that's going on throughout this country. And if we can get in here and show these guys that, look, there's a better way. If you follow these steps, these principles, these guidelines, we promise you life will be easier. And I think they're starting to realize that. They're starting to understand that there's something to what these guys are saying.
They kind of tried, we kind of handed them a tool chest, and they tried them out, and it seems like it's working for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on the playground, they're checking themselves. Yeah. We ain't got to step in. They're checking themselves. And I know that that's a sign of progress, and that's a sign of what we've been doing here and what we brought to the school. And hopefully by the time we're finished, they'll all be adequately prepared to go on to that next phase. They all have a big decision coming up and a big transition in life going to high school. So hopefully we'll be able to do something to help prepare them for that transition.
I would just like you to maybe have a word to men who, for whatever reason, are afraid to get involved in this.
We all have our different things that we got to deal with in life, and some people don't think that the mentoring thing is. I'm the first one to tell you, I'm not a great teacher. It's not my strong suit. It's not something that I particularly do well. I struggle with it, even with my own sons, and I have to often look back and say, you gotta keep a cooler head. Because I'm from the old school. And the reality is that I put all of that aside, and I said, if Lloyd and the rest of these guys see something in me that they think that I can bring to the table, then I'll bring it. And I just have to make sure that I'm keenly aware of the situation and what's going on, and part of that is, quite honestly, you've made it easier for me to make that transition by saying, look, these are the things we do, this is how we do them, and this is where you come in, this is how you insert yourself into the mix. So if you want to be a mentor, what I would say is find somebody. Don't just jump into the water, jump into the deep end of the pool, as they say. If you can find somebody who has done mentoring and has been successful, don't reinvent the wheel. See what their model is, see what that works, see if that fits you. If it's not the Silverbacks, maybe it's another group. Everybody's got their own style and their own ways. So certainly, even if you have some apprehensions, I think that you can find somebody that's working in the same vein as yourself who can give you some advice on how to go about it. But I think in the end, I think everybody will find it's worthwhile. I don't think that anybody could go through this process, see this transformation taking place, and not feel positive or feel good about the things that you've done. And you just, look, I know, like everybody else, I got 1.5 jobs, I got 2 kids, I got a wife that works late, I like to go to the gym, and you always say, I don't have time. You're never going to have enough time. You got to make the time. And even if it's not during the week, maybe on the weekends. But whatever you can do to pitch in and do something to help some of these kids out, I would definitely recommend it, especially for men who see the struggles that we go through as a community and recognize them and have a positive story. Even if your story didn't start off positive, but it ended positive, that's even more relevant than a lot of times the stuff that I could bring to the table. So I would definitely advocate that, even if it's something that's in the back of your mind, try to do it. I think it'll be worthwhile.
Silverback's mentoring program has been one of the best programs to come onto our campus, especially for our young 8th grade African American males. It's been important in that most of our boys are saturated with a lot of females at home. They come to school, they have female teachers, and to have men, grown men, positive African American men come in and take a leadership role, it has done so much in that the 8th grade boys have taken it upon themselves to create their own mentoring group called Team Improve. And that trickle-down effect is what we want, because now the 5th grade boys want to know, well, why are the 8th grade boys over us? We want to be over the 2nd grade boys. So it's that true trickle-down effect, that true village approach that even our youngsters, and that's only because of the Silverback Mentoring Program. We bring a lot of programs into our schools. We receive a lot of information about things that we should do. This is, and I say this in my 26 years, this is the first program that I've seen an immediate impact, especially with boys. And any administrator that has an opportunity to bring this program into their building, I would encourage it. It's non-invasive. You guys come in and you respect the processes that have to take place in the building. You work around our schedule, which is great, but for us, that was easy because we wanted to work around your schedule because we needed that program in our building. The boys at Craig the students at Craig have dealt with a lot of transition and turmoil in the past 6 years. Of all the schools in the RSD, this school we've moved twice, we've had a different principal every year, and to know that the men of Silverback said, we're going to come every Tuesday, and they've done that. That means a lot to us, and especially to our boys who in this city, when our kids came back from the storm, I found that they weren't very trusting of adults. But now it's like, oh, these guys said they're coming, and they're here every Tuesday, and it means the world to us. I can't say it enough.
There are a lot of people, I think, that believe in the stereotypes that are on television and things that you see about our children. What would you say to them about the children, these little boys that we come and work with?
Well, what I would say about that is, until you've walked a mile in that kid's shoes, you don't know what circumstance they come from. And what I mean by that is that we cannot put everyone in the same basket of saying, well, that kid comes from the streets, and so that kid is going to be bad or do bad things. None of us know if we came from certain lifestyles how we would turn out either. But that's what we're here for. Okay. And what I tell you is that all the kids that we have with us respond positively. I mean, we went into a school this year, and we had one kid who was really out of hand with the teachers, where the principal approached us and wanted us to talk to that kid and said they have a hard time dealing with the young man. Well, I tell you what, since we've been there, we have not had an issue with the young man. In fact, the young man has gotten better for the principal, has gotten better for the teachers involved. They also called us in to talk to some of the teachers who teach these young people, and that was quite informative for them and for us. It was extremely productive. And so that teacher who was having the most trouble out of the kid, who was a male, actually got in there and got to talk to all of our young men from a different perspective, for him to tell them a little bit about himself and how he got to where he was going to be. It was a whole respect exchange. Right. And so with that respect exchange that came from the young men and that teacher, it's a positive environment. I mean, the teacher looks at them differently now. The boys look at the teacher differently now. It's a great thing. And, we talk about making a difference in the community and all the time. And how can we do that? Well, everyone has a million different approaches and examples of how they could do it. But the way we're doing it and the example that we're doing it with speaks for itself. If you call the principal at Craig, Elementary, if you call the principal at Murray Henderson, I can guarantee you they will say positive things about this program and the way it's impacted their students. And so if we had enough men to help spread this out a little bit more at the different schools, we would be a force. That is the way we change the community. That's the way we change our environment, by getting with these young men who are in questionable situations now and showing them the right way to do things. They just want to touch people. You know, we talk about them being bad kids when they grow up. Well, if the only person they can touch is a drug dealer, or a pimp, or a prostitute, or someone who's not having a job, or a drunkard, what do you expect them to be? But when they can touch a person who's a doctor, who's a lawyer, who's a teacher, who's an educator, it's a totally different scenario, because these are things that they don't typically get to see. And what we do is bring this to their environment.
Do me a favor, Doc, look in that camera and tell the guys who might be interested but don't know that they would make that much a difference. See if you can get them to understand.
Well, what I tell you is that we need everyone to come out here and help us with this. Whether you're a doctor, lawyer, electrician, plumber, professional, if you're a man at home who takes care of his family and handles his business, that's what we need. That's what we need. You don't have to be any special degreed person to come out here and do this. We need positive role models so these kids can see who they can be, and that regardless of the circumstances they're coming out of, that they have something positive that they can achieve, that there are more options for them outside of drug dealing and jails and all those other illegal things that can go on, that they're positive things, and that there are brothers out here who've done it and brothers out here who want them to do it with them as well.
Every person I know that's achieved any significance or success in life can remember the day when they looked up and saw somebody who inspired them. Everybody. You might be that person in the lives of one of the young men in this city. If you have from 1 to no more than 20 hours a year that you are willing to invest in this community, we will make sure that that 1 hour or 20 hours or anywhere in between has impact. We've developed a way of working with kids and working with their education institutions that supports them and they're becoming young men. But we need you. We need examples. We need examples of overcomers. African American men who have overcome whatever they had to overcome to do what they had to do to be men for the women and children in their lives. So if you are happy with your success in life, if as a man you are proud of what you've achieved and what you are achieving, please consider investing 1 to 20 hours a year. It's easy. We have a plan. You can check out our website, silverbacksociety.com. We've been doing it for 6 years now, and we know it has impact. So please, join the team. Get on board. And I'll tell you one other thing. You will enjoy this. It's amazing how much the men are enjoying being what they need to be for community. It's our destiny. It's our destiny. And you are that powerful. So please, look down deep inside and make that decision. That we're not going to stand by and let things continue as they are, when all it takes is for grown men to show up and teach little boys how to be like them.